Space, time, reality, the very universe itself. It is a prism of endless profitability, ever expanding. The possibilities of what could exist, who could exist, or what could happen are truly endless. Stories of regret, anger, fear. Stories of hope, dreams, and the good of all mankind. Myths of light and dark, good and evil, hero and villain. All interconnected into a massive multiverse of stories, characters, and worlds.
This episode of the Crossover Nexus podcast is brought in part by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Zack Stewart, Iron Ninja. Welcome back to the Crossover Nexus podcast. Today, I'm joined by three newcomers. Xavier Mendoza, also known as Godzilla Mendoza. No one can hear you do that.
I know, it was great though. It was cool. It was just for you guys. That was just a sweet little dance for you guys.
A little didgeridoo.
Little jig.
Yeah. I'm joined by my friend Troy Boy 17.
Hello, how's it going? I wanted to do a didgeridoo dance also, but I couldn't think of one in time.
Oh, come on, man.
And I'm joined by Mithi, the director of Coda.
That's what I'm known for.
Oscar award-winning movie, Coda.
I regret that title. I like the title.
It's a good title. It's a good title.
I came up with that title before they announced that movie, so fuck you, Apple TV.
It's just short film.
Yeah, it's my short film that I made a long time ago. But yes, I'm here. I'm also doing a visual gag, but you have no idea because you don't have eyeballs.
It's a really good gag too, everybody. You're missing out.
I'm really doing something here.
This is peak comedy here.
I can't do the thumb thing or like the finger thing where you like.
That's
one thing. I wasn't talking about that. That's a completely separate thing. What's it called when you separate
that
your
plays
thumb?
Great for radio.
This is going to be a fun podcast. No one's going to know anything.
Again, they don't know what we're talking about because this is not a visual medium.
Cameras, so we're not all like we're not.
I think it makes it funnier.
I do think it makes it funnier too. Yeah,
this is for us.
Just goofing on each other.
This is the Patreon exclusive. Yeah.
If I set up a Patreon, I'm definitely doing that.
Yeah. But
well, actually, I'm not even recording video anyway, so it's not even gonna happen.
For $1.
Yeah. Dollar
so
no
today,
tax.
Last episode we covered
I made a reference to an '80s movie. Look, I'm Family
Guy. Whoa, you're.
Hey, this is like that time when Xavier made a reference to an '80s movie.
I'd buy that for $1. What just happened? Why did I say that again?
Real life cutaway.
This
jokes.
was just that time that it's just like that time that Troy said it was just like that time Xavier mentioned.
All right, we're gonna get too meta. If we keep going down that road, we're never gonna stop.
Get too meta, yeah.
Just like that time I spelled Zack's name wrong.
Fuck you. And today, in the infinite wisdom of the randomizer, last episode we watched The Muppet Show, where they did the crossover with Star Wars. Today, it decided to give us Family Guy and Simpsons. You guys ever heard of this show called The Simpsons? I never heard of it.
No,
I thought it got canceled back in like the 90s or something, or like the early 2000s.
I didn't realize it was ongoing until like I entered college. For the longest time, I also thought it was just a 90s show. Yeah, I know.
You guys are making me feel old.
I was kidding. I was doing a bit, but
I thought
then Mithi turned around and made it.
I can tell he wasn't though.
I wasn't doing a bit. I didn't realize it was still going until like 4 years ago.
It's because I grew up on The Simpsons. Like it was huge when I was a kid. Everyone in my house was always watching it. We were always referencing it. I was always getting Simpsons toys and merch, and we were playing the games. We loved Hit and Run. And like every year for Christmas, they would release a new box set DVD of like, each season. So every year I would get a new season of The Simpsons to watch. And then, as the years went on, I would just start marathoning them. So I would just watch like 6 seasons at a shot over the course of a couple of days. Because I was like 10 years old, and you have the attention span to do that when you're that young. And then like I remember the day where I grew up a little is I finally got that season 13 box set, and I was like, hold on, something has shifted.
Hey God, this
This is
isn't
different.
good.
This feels this tastes. It's like when you bite into a stale chip and you're like, it tastes like a chip, but what? It's hurting my teeth. Why is it? What's wrong here? It's just you feel that dryness and that
Yeah.
saltiness.
Also, why is Billie Eilish here? What's going on?
What?
The Billie. Did you watch the? Have you been seeing the new stuff? The Disney
Oh
Plus shorts.
yeah. Oh boy.
I
Because the celebrity stuff gets worse every time they do it. It used to be so clever when they would have a celebrity on, because it would be like a funny thing, like James Woods is researching a role for a movie, so he's like working at the convenience store, and now it's just like, oh, I'm a hip celebrity and my car broke down in Springfield. Hey there, Simpsons family, want to take me in for a few days?
And then the art style like never really fits with them because they're trying to be like realistic still. It's rough. Love it.
They don't want to draw them unflattering.
Yeah.
I watched the Loki one and I thought it made me tired of Tom Hiddleston's voice. I don't know why I watched the
I don't
Loki
even
one.
know what that is.
There was a Loki,
The
like little
good, the
Disney
bad,
Plus
and the
short.
Loki. That's what they called it, and it's literally like
It was
Tom
all bad.
Hiddleston Loki, like Marvel Loki in The Simpsons, and they made a bunch of really weird Marvel things. They actually mentioned how Disney bought Fox.
They did
They're
do that.
like,
Yes, I do remember that.
They said this is what happens with when Disney buys Marvel and Fox, and it has a bunch of all the Simpsons characters as Marvel characters. You see, like, I forget his name.
Was that
the
like
guy...
a 5-minute long short, or was that a whole
Yeah, I
episode?
think
It was like 5
it was
minutes
short.
short.
Yeah.
They've been doing a lot of shorts.
I do remember seeing like a screenshot of that, and people were like, "Look how far we've fallen."
Yeah.
It had this is gonna be a hot take. It had a
They're
lot
not
of
wrong.
like, it had a lot of like Chip and Dale energy, and I'm not gonna say my thoughts on Chip
just
and
here's
Dale,
the
but
IPs we own. Here's
here's a funny
references.
here's a funny joke. We're self-referential. That we can do that. We can shit on ourselves. Look at the
Yeah.
shit that we've shit on ourselves, and it's like, okay, all right, guys, calm down.
You taking
All
the
right,
easiest shots at yourself.
Yeah,
Listen, if you guys want that, you need to watch Plusiversary. Holy shit, is that bad?
I don't
What?
know.
It is.
Oh,
it's
that was the
it's
yeah. I
supposed
didn't
to
realize
be
it was a
like
short.
Every single Disney character and Marvel character and like Pixar character all go into like the Simpsons bar and are just talking. You see Goofy there. Goofy's like getting drunk next to Homer Simpson
At Moe's Tavern.
at Moe's Tavern. Yeah.
Is it a
Oh my
hot take
God.
to say that art is dead fundamentally? Because
Yeah.
that makes me think that art is dead fundamentally.
No, it's just products. That's being
No, you can't say that
packaged.
anymore. That's a hit popular Bo Burnham song. That's what you're referencing. It's
really?
a reference to
Oh.
that. Yeah, this is the one that he plays on the piano and Ray Roman are.
He plays most of them on the piano, but
He does. I forgot that. I thought
It's the one where he sings.
Oh, I know that one.
No
yeah.
way. I thought he doesn't do that. That's
Yeah.
not real.
So, I don't know. I don't keep tabs on the Simpsons, like the modern Simpsons, too much
Yeah.
because I don't believe in hate watching something unless you're pirating it, and I don't even have the energy to pirate it. But I did check in on season like 33 or 32. No, it was 32,
Mhm.
and I took away two things: is Homer starts a podcast and he keeps saying "hot take," and I turned that episode off. There's another episode where Marge gets mad that everyone keeps using their phones and tries to take them to like a family retreat to tell them to get away from technology. And I think that's the 5th episode with that premise.
These all feel like AI generated storylines. You know?
And then also, the other thing is Marge's voice actress just cannot do the voice anymore. And it
Yeah.
sounds painful. And it makes me
Oh
sad.
yeah.
Like,
It,
I'm like, God, just get someone else to do it, or just cancel the show or something, because it sounds like she's in pain trying to get through the line reads.
Oh.
And there's some moments where it's like, that was the best take they got, is where she's like squeaking out this like really like sad like Homer, and like it just, the whole word doesn't even form because it's just so painful. It's just like, what? Stop torturing this poor woman.
Yeah, that sounds not
Yeah.
good.
We'll have an AI recreation of it in the next
Oh,
few years.
I was gonna make
no!
that joke. Yeah.
Oh, just take a bunch of season 1 to 3 voice clips of her isolated, which would probably be easy because there's no background music in Simpsons really.
Yeah.
And oh man, I wish
really
you hadn't
splice
said
it
that.
together.
That's like a possibility now.
They're
Oh.
I feel like if the Simpsons keeps going, yes, they will do that at some point with like someone, where they'll just use an AI
They're
generated
going to
voice
do it.
because they can't get a cameo in.
If
or
Hank
someone's gonna
Azaria
show up.
dies or quits, the show should just end because he's like 80% of the cast.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Sorry to ruin everybody's day with that. My bad.
You just remind us of the cold, harsh reality.
I also love how we've been talking exclusively Simpsons and haven't once mentioned Family Guy in the crossover with Family Guy.
I will say on The Simpsons, I had two core Simpsons experiences as a kid. One, there was a Simpsons Monopoly game, and it was one of the first board games. I say this with a lot of serious intent. There was a Simpsons Monopoly game that released in I don't know when it came out, but it was one of the first versions of Monopoly to have like the card check thing. And I was really excited to use that. It was like where you use a card instead of like actually using cash. Yeah. It was like a debit card.
I don't know Monopoly well enough.
Monopoly is a game where it's like it seems like a really great idea to play it for the first 5 minutes, and then you start like the reality sets in.
6 hours later, you're like, oh fuck,
it's way too long, and the game's topic is dry as fuck.
Then,
it's like playing the stock market as a game.
But now they have Fast Monopoly, which is much shorter, but it's a lot worse in my opinion because it's just the first person to buy all. Troy's breaking down.
Oh, sorry. That's just the phrase "fast monopoly" like hurts me a lot. I really don't like that sentence.
I haven't even heard of that. My brain started swirling with jokes. I was like, "What's the speed run community like?" If you play as the shoe, do you actually get like a frame advantage?
Yeah. New Monopoly
Does the
is like
car move faster?
Yeah. Yep. It's like it just ends when all the properties are gone, and whoever has the most money when all the properties are gone is the winner, which is kind of boring. Like the goal, like yes,
it's almost like making capitalism into a board game was a bad idea.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, yeah, but it wasn't bad. But the thing broke down like a couple years ago, and I'm sad because it was a childhood memory. But it sucks. Okay, it's Monopoly. I used the houses. I did use the houses from that set for a Future City build project in high school, so it at least had some use. My second memory of The Simpsons, and I say this seriously, is the Universal's ride in Universal Studios Orlando. I was really excited for that ride, and then I rode it, and I got off, and I was like, "What is life? That wasn't that good." And then that's when that was the start of my realization that all Disney rides are the same. Was that
Universal?
I know, but even those are sometimes the same.
It's Universal has some weird stuff. They've got rides that they don't own the rights to those characters.
Like the Spider-Man.
Half of them are owned by Disney now.
Great though.
The Spider-Man ride's great. It's a classic.
Listen, the
Hulk ride.
The Mummy ride's awesome.
Well, okay, I will say with the Back to the Future. Well, I was about to say with the Simpsons ride that used to be Back to the Future. If you didn't know that.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was originally Back to the Future, the ride, and it went forward in time to the year 2015. You can kind of see why they kind of replaced it at that point, because they're like, well, as 2015 edges on, what's going to happen? Are we going to stick with this future setting where everything's flying cars and
yes.
I kind of would have liked that. Yes. I would have kind of liked that actually. It's like a different 2015.
Get the joke about it or the irony. They're not going to see why that's kind of quaint and cute. They're going to just be like, "Wait a minute, that's not the future."
See, but nowadays,
years ago now.
No, nowadays
I made a funny joke. 2015 doesn't look like that.
No, nowadays they would say, "Look at this; it's so quaint and cute and quirky," and buy this shirt that says 2015 on it. That's what they would do now. Instead.
Yeah, and so they.
That.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
I will say.
Mithi, if you don't remember, actually, in the pre-ride actually has Doc Brown come back, played by Christopher Lloyd, as Krusty buys the actual, like, the facility that was Future the ride.
That's actually kind of fun.
I only know the ride because someone filmed it on YouTube.
It's not that good.
That's the only way Let's be honest. That's how most of us are going to experience it nowadays.
I have a
Most
friend
people
who
don't have
lives
the
like
money to
10
go to
minutes
Disney
away.
and Universal.
Jacob lives really close to Orlando, Florida, so I want to visit him just as a way to get into the Spider-Man ride.
Yeah, the Spider-Man ride is awesome. I love the Spider-Man ride. Because I went on the new one, and it was like,
we don't talk about the new one.
I
don't want to talk
We
about
have
that.
nothing
New
to
one.
say about Family Guy. We have nothing to say.
What is there to say about
more to say about Cleveland Brown than I have to say about Family Guy, to be honest.
I've
watched more episodes of Cleveland
You can't
Brown.
even really tell that they recast him. They got a good guy for it.
Dude, it's fucking great. He literally started as a YouTuber that was explaining how to do the Cleveland voice, and now he does the Cleveland voice.
That's great. That's actually very cool.
Fucking got promoted. I always thought that was like a really cute success story. I'm like, damn, good for that guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
how long has Family Guy been going?
Was a little silly, but good for him.
Family Guy's been going almost as long as like kind of Simpsons. He's like, didn't it start in the 90s?
Started like 99, like right before the millennium. So it's at
99.
Because
so
the Y2K is a major plot point in the first season.
Oh yeah, right.
They did a whole episode about
like a
Y2K.
few episodes of season 1.
Maybe I should watch it. I feel like that would be kind of fun.
Oh, I feel weird. I've watched every episode of Family Guy probably like 3 times.
Why?
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't know. It's weird because I don't like it or think it's like great. It's just like it's television junk food. You know, it's like when you're eating like a greasy burger at McDonald's. It's something I can just put on in the background when I just want like background noise when I'm doing something tedious for like working on a video.
Yeah. That is the Flash now for me. So yeah,
and it's just like playing back there, and I can like check in and see like a funny joke and you know, because the jokes don't take much context, I can be like, all right, that's kind of funny, and you know, just this check back it. But when you actually sit down and like really focus on it, you start to see what all the problems. But if you're paying like 40% attention, it's actually pretty good.
For me, that's sometimes South Park. I'll turn on old episodes of South Park.
That's new South Park for me. Newer seasons aren't as great as.
I think the older ones I could focus on more because those episodes they
had a point.
I meant old in the relative sense, not old.
I feel you.
Yeah,
seems
but
like
yes,
newer South Park is just trying to chase trends.
Yeah,
they did Streaming Wars special. It's a decent special, and it tries to be super meta by saying, you can't make this for this streaming service, you're doing it for this streaming service. When the streaming service idea is more or less just people's water supplies, so it's stream, you get it?
Oh, okay, that's funny.
That's clever.
I guess.
It's
How long is the special? Because I know exactly at what point it's going to start getting old.
It's 40 minutes.
Oh boy.
Okay, all right. Around the 10-minute mark is when that joke would have started.
Yeah.
So well, it's not even
member berries.
Member berries? You remember that?
It's been long enough that you can do member berries. It's looped back around.
It's 6 years, man. It's been 6 years, dude.
Wow. This is the problem with getting old is we become like this. I blame this on being old, which is why I'm still young.
Anyway,
and fresh and
I blame this on Disney.
Family Guy. It's terrible when you pay attention to it because just this recent season, I realized that they just accidentally reused a plot point for an episode. Like they just did they did an episode twice. Like
really?
Because there's kind of like it's all the same jokes, but the premise is like slightly different. And I think that's how they thought they could get away with it. But okay, do you remember that episode that was super controversial and like fucking grossed everyone out where Stewie uses some kind of scientific process to make himself pregnant with Brian's babies?
I remember hearing about this.
I've seen that, yes.
Okay. I've not seen the episode, but I've heard about it.
Okay, that episode, like, the whole point is it's funny that Stewie's a male baby that's pregnant and he's like going through all the stages of pregnancy like on an accelerated rate and kind of making fun of like that process, right? There's a recent episode where he falls off of a slip and slide and injures himself in his crotch and then sees blood and he thinks he's having his period, and then it stops and then he thinks he's pregnant, and then they just start reusing all the same jokes. And he's talking to Brian and Brian's like, you're a baby, you can't get pregnant. It's like, didn't he? He did that.
That's like a notable episode too. Let's like redoing Star Wars jokes.
Yeah.
Like everybody saw that one.
Well, are you gonna at some point acknowledge that you've already done this premise?
No,
so
they can't acknowledge themselves, then they would have to start referencing their own material.
They weren't referential at all?
That's why they have the same jokes repeated a million times.
Were they self-referential at all?
No, they weren't. That episode did not call back to the other one at all, and it seemed like a really easy plot point. It's like, well, except that time that I was, and then he'd be like, oh yeah, I get, and then like that could maybe lead into like him worrying that maybe he is a second time or something. I don't know, but no, they just didn't acknowledge it. That's like so completely forgot that already happened, and then started doing a lot of
Family Guy lore has gotten too crazy. Okay, we can't keep track of it all.
Maybe it's just an inside joke with the writers.
I love the episode where some random character is nice to Meg and she falls in love with them to the point that she starts acting creepy and like stalking them, and then it becomes a problem. And there's 6 of that episode.
Yeah. It's my favorite episode.
At one point they did it with she started stalking Joe and being weird at him, and then they actually did have the forethought to reference when that already happened to Brian several seasons earlier. And Brian was like, well, I had a similar situation with Meg a while back, and blah blah blah. It was like, okay, thank you for that, but then the 3 other episodes where that happens after that, don't do that.
I feel like the goal now for Family Guy should be do an episode for the first episode, repeat the same shit for the second episode, and just see how far you can go consecutively before people notice.
People notice that they're like reusing plots and just,
or like until they get like an email or something telling them to stop from the producer.
I think South Park got it right that Family Guy is just made by manatees that are just grabbing those
just picking nouns to make
picking up just the nouns, the verb,
it's just
and then
a giant game of Mad Libs. It's frustrating because like every once in a while there's like a decent episode, and then it's just like bordered by like 50 terrible ones.
So that you can never really get into the good episode even if you wanted to.
When I watch that show with my wife, I always just we're gonna skip these 9 episodes and then we're gonna watch this one. We're gonna skip these 22 episodes and then we're gonna watch this one. We may have skipped a whole season at some point because I just couldn't find a single episode in there that I liked. So she's seen all of what I think are like the ones that are actually like kind of worth watching.
As you do with any show, honestly, nowadays.
Oh yeah, you just have to cut through so much material because that's the problem with American television, and that's the problem with The Simpsons. It's just the amount of excess. It's just we have to keep pumping out more and more and more and more. You watch The Office in the UK, and it's like 12 episodes. You watch The Office in the US, and it's like 170.
Yeah.
Right? It's keep making as much of it as possible, and that's quantity over quality, so it just starts to get so flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of quality, the Simpsons Family Guy crossover.
All right, that's a good segue.
I know.
I like how people who worked on it said they hate it.
Really?
I think Harry Shearer, one of the voice actors in The Simpsons, was like, "This fucking episode sucks." I have to look it up to find the exact quote.
Yo, my God, yeah, I'm so excited to experience this with all of you, as I already had to once.
When did this crossover happen?
This happened in 2014. It was 2014. That's all I could say about it and why it would happen.
So I was just want to make sure that there's not going to be like an absurd amount of Trump jokes for like kind of no reason.
Oh no, what I was. If this was 2016, there would have been a bunch of Trump jokes. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, that was like every show.
Harry Shearer, who plays like every fucking character. He's a. Let me look up. Okay, he's Flanders. He's Principal Skinner. He's Lenny. He's Reverend Lovejoy. He's a lot of characters.
Yeah.
He was not in it, and then he said that all of his characters are silent, and then the one time Lenny that was played by him, Lenny speaks in this and is played by an imitator having to try to sound like him. And I think he just didn't want to be in this because he said he just thought the script sucked. He said that like the jokes were too mean-spirited. He said it felt like a Family Guy episode first and foremost and not an actual crossover. He said it something to the effect of like it's basically a Family Guy like cutaway gag that runs for 40 minutes and has the Simpsons in it, but it's not genuine, authentic Simpsons.
Oh yeah, I can agree with that, honestly.
Yeah, I have not seen this. The only thing
the fact that it has its own Wikipedia page, like completely by itself, with a very large section on reception.
Most things have Wikipedia pages.
Okay, but like one specifically for the episode, and the reception thing is long, with the topic controversy. Ooh,
controversy.
There's gonna be a spicy meatball in this.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be.
I'm sorry I said that. I regret saying that.
Yeah, that was Italian appropriation right there.
I apologize. I made a severe lapse in my judgment.
All right. Are we all ready to watch it? Because I feel like we have exhausted our conversation about about Family Guy. Honestly,
I mean, does anyone have Family Guy memorabilia?
Anyone remember?
Anyone got a marketable plushie of Lois?
Anyone have any favorite Family Guy video game memories of playing the video games that were on the PS2, or that what was it? They had an MMO game that was like for computers.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I don't.
I remember it coming out. I did,
I remember like the game designers must have felt they were so clever, because I remember they actually hid a episode of Family Guy in the game.
I think I remember hearing that actually, and that's kind of
hid like
that's kind of fun, I guess.
They had a hidden episode, because we all know Family Guy fans at the time were loving like MMOs on their PC at the time. It was definitely their crowd.
Yeah, the Venn diagram of the market.
Yeah,
exactly.
I will say, the Parents Television Council declared the episode the worst show of the week, specifically.
Oh, it's a week.
That's
not so bad. It's one line of dialogue, and it's just one joke that's such a Family Guy joke, and it comes out of nowhere, and that's kind of the point of it. Is it's supposed to be shocking.
I'm not reading everything, so I don't spoil the line. But there's a lot of discussion about something specific.
That line specifically, it feels weird when a Simpsons character is next to it, because it is so far out of their sense of humor, and that's probably why it was so controversial.
I'm very scared for this. I'm just gonna say I don't know what I'm getting into. I'm not gonna like this.
You're gonna love it. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh, boy.
All right, we'll be.
The way you said you're gonna love it also scared me. I was fine, and then you said you're gonna love it, and then I got even more scared.
Never trust my recommendations. All right, we'll be back after we watch the Simpsons Family Guy crossover, subtitled TheSimpsonsGuy. So we've just returned from watching the Family Guy crossover with the SimpsonsGuy. What the fuck you guys think about it? Who wants to start?
That was 44 minutes too long. That's my answer.
It's visually gross, because all the color palette for both shows is so different from each other that seeing those characters next to each other makes my eyes hurt.
Yeah.
And everything in the whole special looks really muddy and gross and unpleasant to look at, and like way too dark. Like the backgrounds and the Simpsons characters look too dark, and the Family Guy characters look too bright, and just makes it not fun to look at. The humor is just misplaced and misguided.
Yeah, it is.
It's so mean-spirited and dark and gross, and they don't really do like some commentary on that with like the Simpsons characters being like, why do you gotta go that far? Instead, they just kind of shudder and like try to ignore it, like they're really uncomfortable. But that just makes the joke more uncomfortable when even the characters in the show aren't even laughing at it, like, or trying to play along with it. So you just watch. It's like it gives you secondhand embarrassment instead. Like you see someone at a party try to make a joke and then say something really offensive and gross, and everyone just gets like real quiet. That episode is full of that. And it's like not like cringe comedy. It's nothing. It's just like
I feel like they wrote like a bunch of just random jokes for a potential crossover between the two shows, and then just randomly kind of shoved in whatever they thought maybe fit. Like there's no story, and like I get that like it's Family Guy and it's The Simpsons, so it's not like the most like, you don't have to create the biggest deepest narrative for these characters. But I was also like, what the? Okay, I don't give a fuck about anything that's happening.
Well,
right
yeah,
now.
because they're not doing anything for the first like 28 minutes, 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's just random.
Crossover. You mean half the crossover? It's like a third of it is building to the crossover.
Yeah, the comic strip, I guess
that all
spoilers.
just
I don't
goes
know if
nowhere.
people care about spoilers.
Yeah, actually,
yeah, it's been out for.
This has been an issue with like
yeah.
the first three, like the second episode I did, which was the Victorious iCarly crossover. Half the episode, like, took them just to even get to where Victorious is, the iCarly cast. And they don't even meet Victorious until like 45 minutes into the hour-long crossover.
Yeah.
I will say this, in terms of like TV shows like this crossing over, the only really good one I've seen has been Lab Rats and Mighty Med, and I stand by that till after watching this.
I can't wait till I eventually have to cover that universe. That's gonna be fun.
Have me on for that episode. That's the only good one of these kind of crossover events.
It sucks because that's not part of like the TommyWestphall portion of the universe, so I have to wait until I finish this entire. I have to wait till I finish this entire list till I get to the multiverse. What do you think
are the best crossovers ever?
Best crossover,
like best TV best. Like this is probably I would say one of the worst because it's just it doesn't land. It's two things that it's two kind of not so great tastes at this point that are even worse together. That I think that crossover brought out the worst of both shows.
Yeah.
Like just Simpsons being dry and unfunny and kind of out of touch, and then Family Guy just not knowing when to stop.
Yeah.
And so it's just really unpleasant. What's a crossover? I can't think of any right now that I like.
There are a few that I like that were like all the Phineas and Ferb crossovers they did were fucking cool. And they were actually pretty like.
Phineas and Ferb is like a genuinely well-written show.
Yeah, and it's done by like people who care.
Yeah.
Like Dan Povenmire and Swampy Marsh are like just care so much about all the worlds that they do crossovers for. Like their Star Wars crossover is really funny. Like it's legitimately funny.
They try to make sure each thing is like a love letter to that thing that they're pulling in instead of just kind of bagging on it and talking about how it sucks. Like this.
You guys ever watch Adventures of Meep? That shit was my childhood. That's a good special.
Yeah, and like they did
so many crossovers.
They made like Dan Povenmire and Swampy made two shows for Disney, which was Phineas and Ferb, and then after Phineas and Ferb they made Milo Murphy's Law.
Yeah,
they had a crossover between the two shows for like Milo's second season. That crossover, even though Milo Murphy's Law is kind of, I can kind of see some of the criticisms for it. That crossover special is really good. It's a really good show. It's a really good crossover special because it just has a lot of fun with the characters and stuff like that.
But back on this, I mean, I know we were talking about it. I think the chicken fight was the only good part of the episode to me. Maybe that's just me coming in as a complete newcomer who has not watched any of the other chicken fights. But
I would say it's the worst one after having watched all the other ones like a bunch of times. Like,
which just tells me how bad this episode has to be. Then, if there's
because the best
thing I think
part
was the best part is actually one of the worst in the series. Yeah,
like just I'm trying to wrap my head around why I think it doesn't work. I think it's part of it is that just the comedy, the inherent comedy of the premise of the chicken fights is that Peter is just fighting a giant chicken is funny. And it's just brutal and like over the top and like it just keeps escalating and getting bigger and bigger. Whereas with this, it's Peter and Homer fighting and it just doesn't have that same absurdity factor to it. And then it seems like instead of just trying to escalate the scale of the fight, it was how many like references to Simpsons stuff can we have bungle into the path of the battle. Instead of, so it's just like how many set pieces can we get to instead of how can we keep upping the ante.
This crossover just has like so much that I dislike about the crossovers I've watched so far. I had to watch all these, so I've seen like some of the worst and some of the best. Some of them do nothing with their premise, and it's just like, oh look, Superman's here with I Love Lucy. That's funny. Let's have. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Superman was on I Love Lucy for one episode, and Superman makes this really sexist comment.
Classic. Was it George Reeves? What Superman was it?
Man, fuck the 50s.
It was the 50s. Yeah, it was 50s Superman.
Huh.
I forget what his name, what the name was, but it was
probably George Reeves.
Yeah.
What's up with adding sexism to every crossover event? Huh?
Sexism.
Yeah, because the whole plot point of this was sexism.
Yeah.
Because like sitcoms love just fucking hate women. I don't know what it is. Sitcoms have this weird thing of just like, you see that thing with breasts? Fuck them.
Those suck. Yeah, I don't know. I think Family Guy in particular is kind of aware of it and like tries to at least like lampshade it a little bit and acknowledge the sexism, but that doesn't
make it better.
It came across as like it's like we've heard your criticisms. We're not gonna change. Yeah. Like but that whole plot line with the comic strip felt the most like hey, we
Netflix
we know
show
yeah
special kind of thing.
Yeah, it was like some Dave Chappelle type shit. Like new Dave Chappelle, and I'm like,
a mouthpiece.
What's the one video I saw? It was like a solid GG video where it's like Spider-Man fighting Doc Ock, and Doc Ock says he's disabled, and those are his extra arms that he has for his disability, or something like that. And then there's like a random citizen that's like, "Are you attacking that man with extra arms just because he's disabled? Wow, you're such a bad person, Spider-Man." And then Spider-Man decides to do a like unswingable or something, a Netflix special, and then he's like, "Hey, so women, am I right?" And this this episode just has that energy over the entire first half.
He just doubles down and acts like more of a dick.
Yeah, basically. It's like this episode for the first third, I want to say, is just that. And honestly, some of the Simpsons stuff was fun, with just the characters interacting at the beginning. But it's just like, why take so long? And like even after you take so long, it's just
like there's no conflict. Like it's Family Guy. This is a Family Guy episode.
Yeah, we keep having to pretense it with that, like, it's Family Guy.
There's nothing. There's nothing happening until like this weird lawsuit thing. Which lawsuit stuff was funny. I liked that whole meta bit in the bar.
Did I miss the joke about 10%? The beer?
The joke is that Family Guy ripped off Simpsons. Family Guy ripped off Simpsons.
Because Homer says you can't just slap a new label on something and call it your own, and Peter goes, "Well, maybe I don't like Duff beer anymore. I haven't had it in like 15 years. Maybe some people prefer the other thing." Yeah. It's a good bit. It's clever, And
I think that like if this was more framed as like Family Guy versus Simpsons, which sounds fucking insane, that sentence. If it was framed in that for the whole episode, I would think I would have enjoyed it a little bit more, because you have these clashing ideologies of humor. And then like you could but instead it's just like, oh, Bart and Stu are gonna hang out and they're gonna make a really fucked up joke and it's gonna not really be addressed. Yeah. And it just comes out like, oh,
I forgot.
Well, it was like an anti-joke. It was like an anti. Like the joke is that it's not funny.
Yeah.
Because Stewie's trying to be funny.
It inverses on itself, and it really isn't funny.
Yeah, it's like it's trying to escalate and try to be too fucked up, but then there's no the joke
there
itself
had to be like
is not
a middle ground where they if you dial that same kind of punchline back a little bit more. It could have maybe landed, but they went too far into being.
There's a multitude of things that Stewie could have said in that moment that would have still been funny, and
the writers still chose that same premise for the joke.
Yeah. But the writers still went that one. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but they did.
He could have just said, "Your mother's dead," and then like hung up the phone. Yeah. It's like, well, that's dark, but it's not like it's not as fucked up. Because it would at least seem like. It wouldn't make it seem so weird having Bart Simpson in the room with it.
It also makes it seem like Stewie is the guy, too. And that's why I'm like, that just feels... It just felt like a very... Like, they cut away from it, too, instantly. To the point where there's like, maybe the editing room, they knew that...
The button in these scenes is... The button, which is supposed to be the big joke of the scene, is the fucked up part of it. Versus like you'd think that the funnier part, not the funnier, but like you would want to see Bart be like, "What the fuck? That's not like, hey, hang on," Yeah. Instead, the show frames that is going to be the funniest part of the scene, and they're like so proud of that in a way. with the way it's edited.
Like even later, like Stewie says, if you don't hang out with me, I'm gonna kill myself. And then Bart just goes, yeah, that's weird, and then walks away.
I liked that. I thought that was kind of funny.
I wanted more of that, where it's just like the Simpsons being like, why do you have to push so hard?
Why are you
why
like
do you have
this,
to try
Family
so
Guy?
hard?
Yeah.
You know?
You gotta be like
and maybe have Family Guy do something kind of self-examining and like introspective and be like, yeah, why do we have to feel like
I wonder if the problem is, because I don't know how much season change stuff on the actual show, but I wonder if that's part of the problem, is that this was supposed to be the first episode of a season, and because of that they couldn't just like dig a hole too deep and then crawl out of that.
I think it was a mid-season thing.
No, it's the first episode of
It
season 13.
Well, man, you never know. The
production
order
order
they
is
put it
always
on.
weird. With,
that is true.
Production versus air.
I mean,
release.
nowadays Netflix is definitely fucking up production orders for stuff, saying that it's a full season when in reality it's going to be 2.
Yeah. I think they could have done something a little bit more meaningful, where Family Guy had to examine their own sense of humor versus the Simpsons, because there's a lot of comparisons made between the two that are ultimately very surface level.
Yeah,
I think they focus too much on their similarities when it could have been interesting to really examine the differences and hammer that home.
Yeah,
and have Family Guy go, maybe the reason we have to try so hard to be edgy is because we don't want to just be compared to you all the time. We're like living in your shadow, so we have to push the boundaries, or else we're just going to seem like a copy, and it's like, maybe they could have done something with that,
Yeah, and instead it felt just like this mean-spirited, it just felt like this mean-spirited, like we hate The Simpsons this whole time.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
okay.
I will say South Park did almost exactly that joke. Remember Simpsons did it?
Yeah, because South Park themselves also, because South Park is able to introspect and
look at themselves in an interesting
and
way.
look at themselves a little better, because they even have acknowledged in recent years, like previous episodes, where they're like, man, maybe we did go too far. Like I think actually recently there was a South Park thing where they even addressed like how transphobic some earlier episodes were.
Yeah, they definitely have done that a few times.
So it's the willingness to admit when you're wrong is completely vacant from Family Guy, and that the whole opening 20 minutes of this episode is completely exemplary of that. And just how much of their like self-awareness in their humor is just them talking directly to the audience, going, we see what you say about us, we don't care. Like there's jokes where Peter is like, this reminds me of season 1, which idiots on the internet say is our best one, or like I don't know, like Stewie's always going like, oh, people keep wanting me to say victory is mine, and like try to kill Lois and take over the world and stuff, even though I don't do that anymore. And it's like, just, it's always trying to prove something to their own audience and like one up them and like just say, no, you're wrong. And it's frustrating, because we're going on this special is like 8 years old now, and they are still doing that. They're still so stubborn about their audience. Like they have such hostility, and it comes across like really hard in this episode in particular.
It feels like they read Twitter reviews or they read YouTube comments and are like mad at them and just feel the need to respond all the time,
which is like childish, because it's like, that's a guy on the internet. You don't even need to acknowledge it. If you want to just be steadfast and keep doing what you're doing, you can do that without having to also get really pissed off and show the complaint and then not address it.
Yeah, that was the other thing about this episode too, where it just, like, I understand that these kind of shows, especially you get this with South Park too, it just is meant to go off the rails at a certain point. That's like kind of the idea, and that's fine. But I was also like, nothing is keeping me hinged to the actual story that's going on here. Yes, they visit The Simpsons, and yes, they talk about The Simpsons, but yeah, you're talking about like, it's just kind of like meh. They interact with each other, and every interaction feels like it's something that Xavier, I think you mentioned it in the middle, where like you thought of ideas just like as a kid as to how these characters would interact, and like that's basically just what they did.
They just go for the most obvious thing they can do.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I don't know why. Then what's the point of making it? If you're gonna just do the obvious joke. But
yeah, I mean,
I also think Well, you go first.
Oh no, you go. I was about to go on a tangent. You go.
Okay, you hold that thought. Don't lose it.
I was
just gonna say, no. Damn it. No, I lost what I was gonna say.
Oh no!
Fuck! Oh no! Look what this crossover's done to us.
Yeah, it's not even the whole crossover. It's just that one scene.
This has been like a weird theme, like the Spider-Man one that I did with Jesse, and the Victorious one. We were just kind of left speechless because we were kind of just like so just out of things to say because it's not much to say.
Yeah.
I think half of what they were expecting to really win the audience over was not the writing so much, but just the novelty of seeing them in the same room talking to each other.
You mean the MCU?
Because that
was good.
Look, there's Professor X in the same room.
Club Shadow.
So just the excitement of seeing, they're in the same room and they're talking. This is so surreal. I've always wondered what this would look like, and seeing them interact. But then,
no, you don't do anything interesting with it.
Yeah,
you don't do anything.
But that's not sustainable for 40 minutes.
You could literally screenshot parts of this episode and get the same basic emotional response.
You could Photoshop. You could do a shitty Photoshop of the Simpsons in the Family Guy room, and it would have the same effect.
Yeah. Well, and back in 2014 when I saw this for the first time, when I was like just barely starting high school or whatever, I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. I always wondered what it'd be like when they meet each other, and it was but that was just after the first Avengers came out, so there was still crossovers were a new thing in your brain.
They marketed the shit out of this. Probably
crossovers in sitcoms weren't a new thing, but crossovers in like everything else normally never.
Yeah. Do you guys remember when the Flash and Supergirl crossed over for the first time?
Yeah,
I was
because
crazy.
It was a CW.
I didn't care about either of those
CBS.
shows, and I still thought that was cool.
Everyone went crazy over it just because it was like, oh shit, this is finally happening.
And it was also a multi-network crossover.
Yeah, that's the other
thing. Yeah,
but I think back then the idea of having a crossover like this, even if it is Family Guy and Simpsons, it has a
holy
novelty
shit to it.
Yeah,
where you're like really surprised by just even the visual alone. Like in Avengers, seeing Captain America in full costume standing next to Iron Man is like, whoa.
Yeah.
I never thought this would happen in a million years. And
it's kind of funny to revisit this something from 2014 because now I feel like almost all of that novelty has worn off because of shit like Blue Spaghetti.
The last drop of it was seeing the 3 Spider-Men next to each other.
Yeah.
That was the last possible thing you could do. And now crossovers have lost all excitement and wonder and magic because we've had everything now.
Yeah,
there's nothing that's untapped.
We're going to get a Marvel Star Wars crossovers in the next 10 years.
Yeah,
do the Patton Oswalt pitch, man.
It will be exactly like the Patton Oswalt pitch.
I will on it.
Darth Vader's gonna fight Iron Man.
When I first saw that Patton Oswalt pitch, I was like, actually like, oh my god, wouldn't that be actually kind of fun if they did that just for the sake of it?
Because that was also a comedic pitch. Like he was doing
But imagine
was he doing like a filibuster at like
it was improv too, which that was what made that really funny. Like that was like completely off script.
But now if they were to do that, it would be so kind of like
be corporate.
Oh, remember the thing that we did? Ooh, and then we're doing it. It's the same. Aha, it's Luke.
It's just Ready Player One, but with Star Wars and Marvel, and that would be kind of
yeah.
That's the thing now is like because we get these big crossover projects like Rescue Rangers and Space Jam and Ready Player One, and it's just become this like mishmash of companies just taking random IPs and just having them stand next to each other just for so you could say the visual is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
there's no story to any of it now.
Yeah, I will say though, I watched Rescue Rangers. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I did. Not great.
Yeah, I mean, like, it wasn't like the more I think about it, the more bland I feel it is. But seeing South Park in the same movie as in Disney is just fucking weird to me. That's the only thing that I will say about that movie. That's
the intended effect. Is you just want it to look weird and be like, oh, it's cool seeing those next to each other, and then
I mean, that is the
that-
basis of
there's
what
nothing else
Ugly
to it.
Sonic is.
Yeah.
Sonic started off as a genuine kind of just like bad idea on a corporate level, to now they're like, oh fuck, we can use this for. Remember Ugly Sonic?
Yeah.
Remember how bad that was? That was so
the
funny.
whole
Nostalgia
appeal
for
of,
2
of
years
that
ago.
bit.
Yeah.
The whole appeal of the bit.
Yeah.
is
What are
just
they?
here's-
Me?
Here's him standing around. Remember him? You never thought you'd see him again in something, and now he's standing here being goofy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's just that
Yeah.
it really is just we want to impress people with the screenshot of these things they thought they wouldn't see again.
Throw
or
it
see
up
next
onto
to each other.
into a CBR article and get some AdSense off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's
Yeah.
but there's no substance to the story. Like what is the plot of Space Jam 2? What is the plot?
Tell me to
Chip
think
and
about that
Dale.
movie.
What is the plot of
The thing
Ready
with Chip
Player
and Dale is it has a genuinely kind of interesting plot, but it just kind of gets bogged down
I
by the
think-
fact that they're.
It just
Maybe
seems
I'm
like-
in the minority. I enjoyed Chippendale actually. I
enjoyed
did
it.
not dislike that
I
movie.
didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it.
And I think that those crossovers are better in the sense of like we're never gonna fucking see Tigra in anything. So it's like these are actually pulls of like
Relatively
versus-
obscure
but
characters.
Yeah.
when it's something obscure like that, then
Yeah.
it's like funny because
and it
then
feels
it's
like
not-
it feels like somebody actually like wanted to put this
Yeah.
character in something.
Mhm.
Or like the
versus,
cheese guy,
like
you know,
Free
like
Guy,
that's a
or
funny
like
moment.
yeah, like Free Guy was literally like, oh, we're gonna have a Star Wars lightsaber and then the Captain America shield, and
then he's gonna have the
it
Hulk
feels
fist.
even
it's
more
just here's
like
popular
forced.
things.
These are the big
in the
popular
same
things that
shot.
you know.
Here's
Yeah,
the
In the
big
same
popular
shot.
things we own, and we don't have to use any licensing fees.
Which is
Oh,
funny
yeah.
because Free Guy and Chip and Dale, I think, although Chip and Dale is probably a better movie, I think they suffer from similar issues. Where it's like for the first part of the movie, they're doing like an actual okay job with some of these references. But then when it comes to the third act, they always just shoehorn like as much
starts
random
going
shit
crazy.
as they
Yeah.
can.
It starts
And I think that was-
exploding, and it's just like how much can we cram into each frame?
And I think that's also what my problem with Chip and Dale is too. Is at the end when like they go through the machine and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, all right, I get it. It's the animation from this, and it's this thing that they're showing, and that's fun, I guess.
Oh look,
But-
there's Butthead from Beavis
Yeah.
and Butthead on a billboard.
Which-
And
like,
he's running for governor.
would you s-
Cool.
would you say this crossover does this Family Guy crossover? I don't
I wouldn't
think
say
so.
it does.
Right.
no,
There were
I
times
think
where I was
I
like,
think it,
it's a little
It is
like
just going for,
the
here's the
American
visual.
Dad stuff was. I was like, okay, I get
There's
it.
like a
you know,
quick American
playing Bob's
Dad joke.
Burgers.
yeah,
Bob's Burgers.
one.
The Bob's Burgers one was so weird because it was like a. It was like
it was a new show at the time, right?
It was
Well,
it
it
was
wa-
punching down.
It
But
was
it
vi-
wasn't
yeah.
justified.
They constantly punch down at Bob's Burgers, but who the fuck just had a movie now?
It was so like
Bob's
mean spirited
Burgers
to
have an
Bob's
Emmy?
Burgers, which is like a very
I
well
believe it
respected
does.
show. Yeah,
I love that they're always trying to protect, because even recently they're taking pot shots at Bob's Burgers and like talking mess about their animation, and it's like at least it's like
You're
kind of
Family
memorable.
Guy.
and
Dude,
looks
have
like
you
something.
seen like the animation in the new movie is like really fucking good. So I do not want to hear a peep from Family Guy about that shit.
It looks like it was animated in a moving car.
Bob's Burgers is on. This show speaks to us young people, apparently.
That show, and I mean no disrespect when I say this, but that show looks like it was animated in a moving car.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of bits later in the episode did kind of turn into just here's the visual of these
Yeah.
things next. Like that whole courtroom scene also did just have here's the Simpsons
But-
version sitting next to their equivalent Family Guy character.
Which isn't funny. It's just like novelty.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Mm.
it's just okay. There's the two sea captains. There's the two
Yeah,
mayors. There's the two doctors.
there's Adam West and the family and the Simpsons mayor. Where did they go? We don't know.
The only fun bit in that was that they had two James Woodses because he's been in
Yeah.
both shows.
I didn't also was a Kool-Aid Man joke like supposed to be another thing other than
that's a
like,
Family Guy thing. That's like
Oh,
a
that's
Yeah,
what it is.
anytime they're like everyone in like in a court case, it's like, oh no, oh no, oh no, and then the
and
Kool-Aid
then
Man
Kool-Aid Guy
pops in
shows
and
up and he's like, oh.
oh yeah,
Like the old commercial,
Yeah.
he busts through
Yeah.
the door.
Yeah,
And goes, oh
yeah.
yeah, they
It's just
they
that,
did it in
okay.
like the first episode of Family Guy,
they've been
and
milking
then
it.
have
Oh.
been because Family Guy is very self-referential, almost to the point that like certain jokes will not land if you hadn't seen an episode 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
yeah.
They like really rely on you knowing the backstory of certain
They
jokes.
need you to know like an old running gag.
Because
I've
the
heard-
running gags go through like phases. They evolve instead of just repeating constantly. So it's like you need to have seen every instance of it showing up to get it sometimes.
I've heard people describe Arrested Development the same way. Is that true?
I wouldn't
I
say
don't know,
so. Maybe
no.
newer Arrested
I mean,
Development, because
I
the last
mean,
two have been rough. But like,
we're not
Arrested
we're gonna
Development's
get
not a show that
we're not
was
gonna
like
get a
Jason
third.
Jason
syndicated.
Bateman's still even in that show.
They're not even doing it. They haven't done a 6th season yet. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think
mean,
it's.
like,
I think it's done.
yeah, I mean, like also one of the actresses died, and
Yeah, and
one
then
of them
yeah,
one of them
played,
one of them was pointed out to be a sexual predator and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough.
Oh yeah.
But like, it's with Arrested Development, it was more so like you're expected to just watch Arrested Development like 1 through 3, like in a row.
It's 3 seasons. It's not
It's
like
3 seasons. Yeah,
27.
it's not really meant to be syndicated. Family Guy is meant to be syndicated, so the choice of like, hey, you wouldn't get this unless if you watched episode 16 of season 3 is a strange decision on a creative standpoint.
Because I have when I go back home and we have our stupid just dumb like public cable TV. There, I forgot what the channel is called, but they play old episodes of I think it's called Chips. I think it's like an old cop show, and I'll watch old episodes of that. And right after that, there's usually an episode of like Cleveland. Is the show called Cleveland Brown, or is it
Like
called
the
something?
Cleveland
It's
Brown
called the
show.
Cleveland,
The Cleveland
show.
Or the Cleveland show, yeah.
Okay, that's like I had more time. I had more fun watching that than I had watching this. I thought like those episodes were genuinely probably a little bit funnier than this, because at least they had like a running, like they didn't have like a bunch of individual dumb running gags. It was like one plot, one gag, and it went on for the whole thing, which from the way that you guys describe it, that's kind of what The Simpsons is, right? Too, where it's like there's a kind of a story from beginning, middle, and end of an episode.
Yeah. The Simpsons isn't just trying to be an excuse for jokes. The story in its prime
Used to be,
when I'm talking about Simpsons being good, I mean like the early seasons. But back then they would try to like tackle a social issue or something, or like something that's big in the media, like something that was relevant at the time before the news cycle made it so that everything they talk about is 3 years out of date. But they would just, how do these characters react to X thing, so it would be like, here's an episode where Homer deals with the economy failing and gets laid off from his job, and then it was like a sad episode where he's just trying to make ends meet for his family, and he interviews for a job and doesn't get it, and he goes home to his family and they have a cake congratulating him, and he can't look them in the eye and say that he didn't get it. So instead he lies and says he got the job, and instead he's just going to like a burger restaurant all day, and then comes back 9 hours later and makes up a story about his shift. And like, I know someone that happened to, that had that thing happen to them in their life. And it's not played necessarily for laughs. Like, there's funny stuff in the episode, but that core aspect was talking
the story
about.
itself is not the joke, it's the jokes around the story.
Yeah, early Simpsons is ironically less of like a sitcom comedy than like a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Like
there was
another
an episode where Homer got so depressed he tried to kill himself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like a connection to the characters, because it's like modern Homer is kind of a piece of shit. Like they really play up the like abusive dad stuff, and he's like a piece of shit to Lisa and everything. But like classic earlier Homer is like genuinely a pretty good dad. He's a regular dude who's like,
you used to love these characters and feel bad for them.
Yeah, and
if
like
something bad happened, and you felt excited when they succeeded.
Yeah, exactly.
Now they're just like caricatures. They're because I mean the Flanderization.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that term?
Yeah, well, of Ned Flanders, yeah.
I mean,
no, I have not, because
I'm not a dumbass there.
I'm not a dumbass. Yeah, that's who I am.
You guys don't see this, but he came in as dumbass first, and now he's not a dumbass.
No, I'm not a dumbass.
Okay, so like the character of Flanders in The Simpsons, he's the annoying next door neighbor. The bit with him was originally in The Simpsons is that Homer hates him because Flanders is better at everything. Like he has a more well-behaved family. His kids aren't assholes. His wife,
which is a fine joke.
Really nice to him. He just despises this guy because it's that's the next door neighbor who just always has everything better. He always has the more expensive lawnmower, the more expensive TV. Everything goes better for him, and it's like a jealousy there. But they also lightly touch on the fact that one of Flanders' character traits is that he was religious. And then over time, this is where this term comes from. The Flanderization is him being religious became his only character trait, and they just
Yeah.
forgot that Homer hates him. And now
I
it's
can
just
say that about
Flanders
like I think at
is just
least
this
half.
super devout Christian guy, and that's all he is.
I can say that about half, if not more than half of the characters on The Office. That's just what happened.
Just
to
one
all.
character trait becomes their whole thing.
Yeah,
you know.
I
You
remember
say you
when I
like
used to like
chimichangas in one issue.
Yeah, I remember when I used to genuinely like the character of Andy Bernard, and then no.
I think that comes from just like poorly written long form stories about characters.
I think it's because it comes from this thing where a show runs for so long, they run out of such stories to do with them, and so
that they gotta grasp at straws.
They gotta
and then
grasp
some of those straws,
at the one thing that they're like, oh, this person likes this. Let's focus on.
They start trying to reincorporate their own memes that spawn from themselves.
Which
it's
is
like,
why
people thought it was funny when Homer did this. There's a really popular reaction image of Homer doing this. Let's have him do that all the time now, or something like that.
Like, I love Succession so fucking much. It's the best show. But imagine if they did like 10 seasons of Succession. Logan Roy would just become the fuck off character, and that's basically all his character would be, because at a certain point you find that's like the little member berry of their character, and then you just keep shoehorning that over and over again. So I guess in some way you can't blame The Simpsons immensely for getting to that point, just because they've been around for how many years now? Is it
almost like 30 something?
They're on
over 30.
They're on starting season 34.
Yeah,
but regardless, I don't think
by over a decade.
Yeah, but regardless, that's not an excuse still to.
It's like why is the show? I mean, I think a lot of people agree the show should have ended at the movie at the latest. You know.
Yeah,
the show didn't originate seasonal rot. It's just the worst offender of it.
The thing about it is like, it's gone on for so long. Disney's never gonna cancel it now, and I hate that I have to say Disney's never gonna cancel it, because Disney now fucking owns it.
Yeah. But like, how much money are they pouring into that show, do you think, right now? Because they have to not be making money.
Doesn't look good, so probably not as much as they used to.
It's weird. I've always been confused as to why Simpsons keeps making money, because it feels like no one has anything nice to say about it anymore.
Does anyone watch it?
Just I think it's just at a good time, and people like know what they're getting into now. When it's like what you were saying. I don't know if we were recording at the point, but we were saying about Family Guy being like fast food of TV. I think Simpsons has kind of become that. Like, you just have it on in the background. All right, I know I'm not gonna like this, but I'll have it on while I'm eating dinner or something.
Or the other thing is, I remember liking this at some point. I'll throw it on in the background. Yeah, Simpsons. I have some good memories.
I like the soundtrack. Oh, the theme makes me feel nostalgic. Yeah.
You know,
that's
I
true. I
remember
didn't think of it that way.
Playing the games as a kid. Like, there's like a nostalgia factor to it too.
That's the only reason I watched The Flash. There's no reason for me to watch The Flash except for the fact that I liked it at one point. So I get what you're saying.
It's a dual thing. It's just easy television you don't have to give a shit about, that you can just zone out on or have in the background, and people have fond memories of it back when it was something that you could pay attention to.
And plus, there's like hate watching too. Like, you see, like when they get really weirdly political in a bad way, and then they you're like, oh, I just got to see how bad this is.
Politics in The Simpsons is all over the place. It does some really right wing episodes and then some really left wing episodes, and it fumbles both so hard. Like, it can't please anybody.
Wasn't Pete
no one is happy when it's around.
I thought I remember seeing that.
I wouldn't be surprised if people. Yeah.
Oh my god, I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just
because they just get weird guest stars now. Like, they just get whoever, like, not someone who is necessarily like funny, or
someone who has their Twitter DMs open and will respond.
Because they're trying to get like how many Simpsons fans are really Billie Eilish fans? Like, who is the market for that?
Yeah,
are they trying to get Billie Eilish fans to watch The Simpsons? Or are they trying to get
that one Billie Eilish Simpsons fan who's like, "Fuck yeah, finally!"
At least with Marvel, it's like
someone who has the overlap in the Venn diagram.
But I think that's also the reason they do the Marvel ones, is because there's like a bunch of young Marvel fans who don't know shit about The Simpsons, so they're like, "Ooh, another Marvel thing."
It's
maybe it's the same for Billie Eilish.
But then they don't sell their show very well with that either.
They don't.
Well, that's the other thing is, Simpsons entered this era in like the early teens, the 2010s, where they knew that they were running out of steam after the movie because it had been like, I don't know, 5-6 years by that point.
Yeah.
And they're like, let's just keep throwing a gimmick episode in there. So here's the gimmick of this episode is Ned Flanders is going to get married to Miss Krabappel. That's a big deal. These two characters who've never really met each other before meet and fall in love and get married. And it's like, okay, that kind of boosted ratings because people are like, oh yeah, I remember those characters. It'd be kind of interesting to see them because they have very polar opposite personalities. And it's like, okay, that worked. The Simpsons guy, I imagine, probably did fairly well, in ratings because it was a sort of a big deal.
I'll pull this up. I need to see the ratings here.
And then they were like, the Lego movie just came out. Let's do an episode animated in that same art style as the Lego movie. Why not? Fucking here's a Lego Simpsons episode. And some people say it's actually one of the better recent episodes.
Oh, it actually is. I've seen it. Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, what's left? Let's do a Futurama crossover because that just ended. So like, we're not really stepping on anybody's toes with that. We just have the Futurama characters come in, and then, and just like it ran out of gimmicks to do too.
Yeah.
they every season they had like here's the new big thing happening this season that The Simpsons is doing something you've never seen before. And then they did all the things that you've never seen before. So that now there is not a single thing on The Simpsons you have not seen.
Okay, I'm probably not going to find the ratings here, but I just found a bunch of reviews. What the fuck are people thinking about this crossover? What the fuck in 2014? Everyone's giving it like 8 out of 10s and 10 out of 10s on IMDb.
No.
I don't
read a cringy one. I want to hear the cringy one.
It's the excitement of seeing two characters standing next to each other.
This is like
it all is. Hold on, let me see.
This is like reacting
comic
to
talk of
sitcoms. It's like reacting to shitty No Way Home opinions. Like if someone were to do a love letter on No Way Home.
Who would do that? Who would have done that?
I'm not gonna say anything beyond just the fact that I said that.
I've never heard of a film caffeine guy who would make something like that.
Yeah. All I'll say is I'm not doing that video anymore. But this is like watching shitty No Way Home reviews. So please read like a really like badly positive one. I'm
gonna say this. All right, I found a good one. All the characters interact amazingly. The humor exceeds any of which either show has produced before due to the perfect combination of both shows. As per usual, Stewie is just hilarious. Peter and Homer.
I like that they picked Stewie, the one guy who had the one really shit line.
He had the worst bits in the whole episode.
He had the worst bit.
Fuck all to work with. Like Stewie can be funny, but he was utilized terribly here.
There were 2 minutes of just scorched eye content from both Homer and Peter, and I still think the Stewie line was worse than those 2 minutes. But no, Stewie is the funny one.
Yeah, I blocked that part of I blocked that car wash out of my memory. And
I was looking like this the whole time. I was looking like this the entire time, and I was looking like this the whole time. I couldn't stand it.
Peter and Homer stood together just makes me cry of laughter. They're both similar.
I'm telling you. This is the image of them standing next to each other. That's all you gotta do. You don't even have to write any jokes. You just have them walk in and say, "Hey, how are you? Hi, how are you?"
They could have just played two episodes side by side, unrelated to each other, and people would have the same response.
It's just seeing the imagery of just these two things that you don't see next to each other.
Hey, I know that.
Same shot.
Yeah.
Whoa, I know that guy. I know that guy. They're together. Whoa. That's all you need.
Whoa, you're Peter 1, and you're Peter 2, and you're Peter 3?
Peter 4 is actually Peter Griffin.
Like I said, that's the last thing. That's the last thing we haven't seen.
Peter 4 is the Family Guy Spider-Man that just popped that just says that everybody gets one.
Oh, jeez.
You know Dan Slott actually made that joke canon?
Did he? Oh, no.
Yeah, in Amazing Spider-Man 600, a guy falls off a scaffolding and Spider-Man catches him and he says, "Thanks, Spider-Man." He says, "Everybody gets one." He actually put that in. That's in the books now.
That's fun.
It only happened once. It's all right. It's okay.
Yeah. Just don't do it again, or else.
Just don't do it 6 times.
Yeah.
To the point that people don't get it when you're on the 7th time, and they're like,
"No, but see, this is why I'm so excited for Secret Wars, and not just the poster."
Oh yeah,
well, guys,
look at this.
Look at this. Look at all these characters, guys. Look at you can't see it because this is
just like
Civil War, but the multiverse.
It's like Civil War, but the multiverse.
It's like
For
Civil
those
War,
who,
but multiverse.
because this is a podcast, you can't see my camera, but I'm showing.
We're gonna have Eric Bana Hulk and Edward Norton Hulk and Mark Ruffalo Hulk all in the same room.
Right here,
we're gonna have the Avengers Assemble Hulk and the EMH Hulk all in the same screen. They're all gonna be animated.
This is gonna be Tom Cruise Iron Man. I'm calling it.
Jeez.
We're gonna
have. Okay, I know this is about the Family Guy and Simpsons. Where did that come from? Can someone tell me where that came from?
I have no clue. It's kind of hilarious.
Tom Cruise Iron Man.
How such an insane rumor
because he was almost cast in 2007.
But is that real?
Yeah,
is that real?
Yeah, that's real.
I don't.
Yeah,
when they were working on it.
Okay.
When they were working on the first one, they almost cast him, and then eventually, I think Kevin Feige said no.
Well, no, the first Iron Man movie was going to be made by Fox. They bought the rights for Iron Man, and then they were like, "Wait, shit, we can't do any. We don't have any ideas." And Tom Cruise was going to play him in that film, but they didn't have any ideas. So they're like, "All right, fuck it, Marvel, take it back."
He lobbied very hard for a transparent faceplate on his helmet so you could still see his face.
He wanted to build the actual suit with the help of a certain billionaire
which I guess is
company
why Superior Iron Man
probably.
makes so much sense for him now.
You know he's going to space with Elon Musk, right? That was
gross.
Yeah.
Isn't Oh no, it was a joke that people were saying the next Mission Impossible he was going to film an action scene in space.
I think he is.
No,
I don't even think that
it would not surprise me.
It's going to be.
I
think he has the chance to. He would do it.
I think here's what's going to happen. He's going to go on a space shuttle to space, and Miss McQuarrie, the director, is going to be there too. And then Tom's going to be like, "Listen, this is the last movie, and I have to die, so I'm just going to unhit the thing and then just go straight into the sun."
You're going to get a real death.
Yeah, you're going to get a real death.
Do the Superman pose forward into the sun.
Just put it in the movie, and I don't care what happens.
With a
I just want the movie.
GoPro on a stick attached to me, so you can get a good shot of it for 25
like
hours.
Right before he enters the sun, he like shoots the SD card out. He's like,
"Oh, it's broadcasting a live feed of him just floating in the Superman pose, ice, getting closer."
Yeah,
and he starts heating up, and then the camera just stops, and it's just static.
Like, that's how you really fight the friction, is by jamming yourself into the sun.
Ethan Hunt is a real hero. We can write something about how he saved the world or something there.
Yeah. But yeah, I can't wait for. It is funny how this show did like mild member berry stuff, but then still just kind of sucked because it didn't know what it wanted to do.
Well, that just tells you what member berries really are. They just legitimately suck.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's no substance to it. It's just like trying to elicit the surprise reaction of a thing that you haven't seen in a while, and you're like, "Oh, I remember that," and not really do anything with it.
Which is why I can't wait for Memberberry Pie over here whenever this shit comes to screen.
I'm so sad because I love the first Secret Wars. I think that's the best Marvel event,
right
like the big event ever. It's probably the first one too. Maybe
it was. It was like the first event comic.
Classic Secret Wars. I think it was really good, and I wish they would just do that instead, but they won't because it only had like 14 characters.
And like I've only read
that's not the 700 to meet the quota.
Yeah, I haven't read all of this. I remember reading all of this like a long time ago, but I just got through like about like a third of it. It's not bad. I mean, it's Hickman, and he did all the X-Men stuff, and like it's actually pretty good, but it's not. It's not anything like the fucking thing that people are saying it's going to be on TikTok. It's just a kind of an exploratory analysis of Reed Richards and Doctor Doom with a bunch of other characters kind of filling in different roles, you know?
It's almost like people don't actually read the comics and they just see the cover of it and they're like, this is what it's about.
That's what it's about. Yeah. They don't even read the back of the book.
They just look
at the actual cover.
I feel so annoyed at the fact that I can't bring that up anymore without being accused of gatekeeping, but there really are people who try to like give so many like huge opinions about these things without actually knowing anything about them.
Yeah.
And we just gotta kind of like take them for their word. Yeah. Because if you ask them, have you read it? That's like, oh, are you gatekeeping? Are you telling him to show them your reading list? No, but has he actually read it? Does he know the content of the story he's saying he knows everything about?
Yeah, it's like I watched a No One Likes Comics video and all of Batman Earth 1 stuff. I'm still not going to say I've read Batman Earth 1. I know everything that happens and like I get the story, but I'm not going to say I've read it, you know? So but people don't care at a certain point because they're talking to
I
people
feel
who
like at this
definitely
point
haven't
it's
read it.
just like people want to participate in the discussions, but they don't want to actually like devote the time to it.
Yeah,
So,
and I almost feel like that's kind of a failure of the comic book movie media if it's not like properly selling these people on the actual medium. You know, that's kind of my thing with Moon Knight and Ms. Marvel is it's not selling us on the act. Like,
yeah, because you watch Moon Knight and then you're gonna go read that book and be like, what the fuck? This is way different.
Or you watch Moon Knight and you're like, oh, I don't really care about this because it's just like regular Avenger guy. And then like my girlfriend, I told her about the Jewish stuff with him, and she was like, whoa, wait, that's really cool. I want to read that now. And then if the show was doing that, if the show was properly doing that, then you people want to read comics, and the comics industry would be better. It's
like
it's gotten to the point where it's like people consider the movies as like the Cliff Notes version of the big stories, and they would much rather watch that. And so it's like it comes down to just if you ask someone to read a comic or a movie, they're gonna say, "I'll just watch the movie. I don't care about."
It doesn't take as much time, and they're gonna sit down.
It doesn't take as much time. I don't have to think about it too hard. I don't have to know as much. And so
there's also that inherent bias towards people who read comic books of like, oh, you read comic books.
The medium is framed right now as like the bad. It's like, oh, it doesn't count, and I think that's like it's a social.
That's been around since the day Stan Lee started working in that industry. He's been putting up with that his entire career, and it never actually went away. They make you think it did because all these characters are really mainstream now, but the comics themselves. They're never going to be cool.
But I think the movies have kind of made that worse.
Reading one of those. Too.
And I mean, they try really hard to get people to reading comics. Like when I got to see the Batman, they were handing out free comimes.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Of Long Halloween.
What did one of you guys liked a tweet, and I totally agree with it. Where it was like these trailers for these movies should just have a little fucking end screen of like, these are the books you should read. You know, I think it was like before, like Thor should be like, hey, read this run of Thor.
Read the Jason Aaron run, and then show like the side by side.
Yeah, exactly.
Go, oh, okay, yeah. I just if I want to get.
Well, you know what's gonna happen? In a behind the scenes thing is gonna be there. They're still not gonna credit the artist at all.
No.
It's just gonna be.
Well, they're never gonna do that shit.
No, but like you're just gonna see from page to screen, and then that's it. You know?
Marvel will just be like, "Who's David Aha? I don't know who that guy is."
Is that how you say his name?
I thought
it was Aha.
I thought it was
like Baja, like Baja Blast.
The way I said it in the recent video was
Baja Blast.
So butchered. I feel
now I need Baja Blast, man. Look what you got.
I said it.
What can you do? It's
like
my brand.
a Deja, or I fucked it up real bad. Now I'm realizing how bad I butchered that pronunciation. It's been like 3 weeks, and now I'm realizing it.
I should.
I mean, any credit whatsoever, I think, is better than not. So
yeah,
you know.
So Family Guy and Simpsons.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We talking so much. I don't really know anything about comics, but I love Family Guy.
Honestly, that's what we did for the for some of like the Spider-Man and Jesse crossover. We just started going on tangents for the MCU.
Yeah, what are you talking about with Jesse? Is that even? That's a Spider-Man episode, though, right?
Yeah,
Did my video on that episode make you start this podcast?
Dude, it did. I said it in the podcast. Like I mentioned how you did when you made that video. I DM'd you about that. Remember, I DM'd you about the entire expansive universe, and then
and then you just kind of started running away from it.
And I started going.
You just going crazy. You went way deeper than I did, because I thought that rant I did at the end of the video about how everything has had a crossover with everything, I thought that was pretty extensive, and then you were just like finding shit I've never even heard of.
It is funny because you sent the original version of the wheel, and I'm like, okay, and then you're like, hey guys, updated the wheel, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you can't even see it's just a blob of color.
You added so much stuff.
It was 145 crossover specials and episodes.
That's just a color wheel at that point. That's just a Photoshop color picker.
Yeah.
The nice thing is there's so many now that you have plenty of episodes to do, and then once you catch up to getting all of them done, you could just fill it up again, because Lord knows there's going to be way more.
The thing is, this isn't like everything. This is more TommyWestphall universe. You know what the TommyWestphall universe, right, Xavier?
You've explained it to me, and I forgot. Who's Westphall again?
It's the Globes, right?
The hospital drama Saint Elsewhere. There's this kid at the very end of the show, like finale episode. They like heavily imply that the entire show took place in this kid's imagination while he's staring at a snow globe, and it's because apparently because he's autistic and stuff like that, and he's just kind of been staring at it this whole time. And the dad's like, I don't know anything about this autism thing, but he just keeps on staring at that toy. And so it basically is just heavily implying that the entire hospital drama just took place in that snow globe. So everyone calls it the TommyWestphall universe because any show that appears in Saint Elsewhere or any time the Saint Elsewhere.
Oh, so anything that could be connected to that snow globe is that kid's imagination.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Now that's fucked up.
Yeah. So in other words, and
that's fucked up, man. I can't. That's too fucked up.
Because it's
no.
It's so
because now I'm thinking about every single imaginable thing crossing over, and it's all just this kid is imagining it in a snow globe.
This kid is.
Think about it though, like
this kid is
because of all those crossovers, Spider-Man is part of it, Jesse's part of it, this crossover is part of it.
The Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon is part of it. That doesn't.
Yes, the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon.
Different.
But think about it though, they had a Spider-Verse. They had a Spider-Verse crossover.
They did have a Spider-Verse.
And he was in the Spider-Verse canonical Spider-Verse crossover event. In the comics.
He drove the buggy. I remember
about that.
And then Miles.
So in other words,
it's weird because they ended up having to explain that the Disney Ultimate Spider-Man that showed up is not the same one as the show. He's a different one.
Really?
Because the one in the show didn't acknowledge the comic Spider-Verse or hanging out with 60s Spider-Man and Miles Morales for several issues of that. So that means there's two of that guy.
Is the video game one the same? Or is that also kind of
one
video game
Spider-Geddon and stuff?
Okay, yeah, that one. Okay.
Oh yeah,
he's never gonna fucking reference it, but yeah.
He's never gonna reference it because why would Insomniac want to reference a comic that nobody really liked?
That sucks to me. I thought they were gonna do something with that.
I also thought it was gonna be maybe good, and I read only like the first few issues, and I was like,
I just like seeing the big white spider on comic pages. It made me happy. I love that suit. I like the white spider.
I'm excited for the new one though. The new one looks better to me.
Yeah.
I didn't like how orange the old.
Are you excited for PC Spider-Man? You could do all kinds of crazy mods.
Oh damn, dude! I'm so excited for people to add the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, and I'm never gonna be able to play it.
Oh, I won't be able. I have a terrible computer, so I won't. But I can get the secondhand enjoyment when my friend Brandon gets his like fan-made design in there. The Unstoppable Spider-Man costume.
I need to commission someone to put my suit in there. The suit that
I'm just assuming Evan Florka is going to do a video on every single mod. You know.
I personally, I am excited for just influx of people talking about that game again and going back to older videos. That's going to make me happy.
Yeah.
A skin that's like a half Peter Parker, half Spider-Man down the middle.
That'd be sick. Yeah. It's not. What Peter Parker are we talking about though? Are we talking about the John Bobniak one?
Oh. Doesn't matter. You could have his face be whatever the fuck you want now.
No, good. Every time I look at that Funko Pop, I can't look at him the same anymore. We were talking earlier about like the funniest tweets that we've ever seen. That's got to be one too that I put on that list. That and like two others.
The John Bobniak Funko Pop for this when the PS4 Spider-Man game was coming out, and then at it. When the face change happens, they're like, I can never look at this Funko Pop the same way now.
But yeah, they ever do Family Guy like? No, that wouldn't have worked.
The answer's probably
Family Guy Funko Pops. Yeah, I've seen them. I saw a Funko Pop of Brian once, and I thought it looked like shit.
Yeah,
I feel like that's too cursed.
Go look it up. I think it's real. I think it's real. You gotta look it up.
Any of them that are like actual animation characters like look terrible.
Family Guy.
There's South Park ones. They look awful.
Oh, these are disturbing. I don't like these. I'm not a fan. And this is early Funko too, before they like got their shit together.
Makes sense is Stewie, but even still, I
always thought there was like a weird hatred and elitism against Funko Pops, and over time I've realized they were right.
You were going a direction with that, and I was like, "Are you gonna?"
Yeah, that's in the first half. Yeah,
because I used to get them, and I was like, "Yeah, that's cool."
They were fun. And then you walk into a GameStop, and the whole wall is Funko Pops now.
Well, there's a used
GameStop. Think about that.
There's a used game store. Well, it's like it's a shop that sells all kinds of stuff. It has like like a book aisle and like toys and electronics, but they have like a used game section in it that it used to be like 4 aisles next to each other, just full of old used games. Now it is 1, because the rest are all 3 of the other ones, wall to wall, all the way from floor to ceiling, are just Funko Pops.
Yeah,
and it's like, I used to have a really fun time looking at all the games. There used to be so many. Now
there's something
none.
very disturbing about looking at these South Park Funko Pops. It's just like
the South
they're
Park
like
ones
beady
are
eyes.
because
There's one.
South Park has such a distinct look and art style that turning them into anything else other than their distinct art style doesn't look right.
There's one of Butters, and he's holding a hammer because he's a paladin, and he looks like he's gonna like come into my house.
Like the only South Park collectible that I have that is a physical like action figure type thing is this Osimo, and that's about it. Like anything else.
That is that like an actual Funko Pop?
It's not a Funko Pop. No, it's just a it's an actual other type of collectible. I forget the name of it. It's
okay. The audience can't see it.
They're called the audience will never be able to see it. I'll post a picture or something like that.
I started getting back into like collecting like proper figures in the last like year or two, and I think they actually look a lot better.
I go for like nostalgia. I got like a Soundwave for my dad. Not too long ago.
I got an alien and a predator here.
Ooh,
like,
nice.
like these.
Those are the guys
fellas.
from Fortnite.
Yeah. And they're so scary.
Yo, they're terrifying, man.
They're so scary.
I got this guy from Dead Space. I wanted this action figure when I was little, but I couldn't afford it. And then I found out that a year ago it was $300 on eBay, and then I think I got it out of spite.
It
was like
is
a
a
weird,
Batman?
like repressed rage memory. Like I was so mad that I spent that many years not having that figure.
Is a Battinson hot toy still like $400-$500?
Probably.
I mean, it's a hot toy, so I mean,
yeah, it is a
Did
hot
you see
toy.
Did you guys see?
I just can't justify buying like 6 of those. I feel like one of those is all right, but when you have like a house full of them, it's just like, man.
The thing is, it's like you gotta find the one that's like definitive that you want.
Yeah,
because
I have one.
You do? Which one was? Which one is it?
Is the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool, like the movie Deadpool one?
Oh shit! That's a good one.
Well, because my parents got it for me for Christmas, and
it's a good suit.
Yeah, it's good, and it's because you can always pose it, and move it around. It's kind of like up on the mantle next to the front door. It's like the first thing you see when you walk in the house. So we like put it in different poses every couple of months.
That's fun.
I just want the Battinson Batarang. That's all I kind of want. I feel like that would be nice just to have as a display thing. But...
For me, it's like the I want to get the Cap Samuelson.
My dinner is so cold right now because I don't want the audience to hear this noise.
ASMR, man, ASMR.
Doing a mukbang today, hell yeah!
It's better than the sounds I heard during the scene
that's
in
how you
Family
say
Guy.
it.
It's better than
I thought it was a mukbang.
I don't know.
Mukbang.
I assume mukbang because I think it's
mukbang.
Japanese, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
My wife is Asian.
yeah,
so
it's
I'll
better
take
than
her
any of the
word for
stuff.
it and just pronounce it how she says it.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this for over an hour now.
Holy shit. But were we talking about actually Simpsons Family Guy?
I
or
think we
we
spent
just
30 minutes talking about Simpsons.
I don't even
Family
think
Guy.
30. I think we're pushing it with 30. I think we spent 15 minutes on that. And we decided to change the subject.
It's just, it's hard to talk about something that's just so uninspired and and so poorly put together.
Yeah.
Honestly, I hoped it was worse. If it was worse, I feel like we could have torn.
We would have more
into
to
it a little
complain
more.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead, it was just kind of like meh.
I didn't know I am in danger. It came from this. I was completely caught by surprise.
It's a funny bit. That was one of the few bits I was like, all right, that's all right.
Yeah, it's a good. It's a good one.
Yeah.
They had a few good bits, but
Yeah.
but it gets
In
overshadowed
40
by
minutes.
It gets overshadowed in like immense.
Every Family Guy episode has like 3 really solid jokes, and then like every other one in the episode other than those 3 falls flat. It's just like 5 minutes of being completely stone faced, and something happens that makes you chuckle. You're like, all right, okay, that one's funny. Maybe some in the middle will happen that makes you laugh really hard, and then you'll get another chuckle near the end of the episode.
I just thought of it.
So,
it's like a really bad spoof movie.
Yeah, like epic movie or scary.
Like
movie
epic movie, exactly.
It's just reference,
Yeah.
and then like an actual
With an
original
offensive
bit.
joke,
Like,
yeah.
okay. And then it finds it
Here's a rape
tell a
joke for some reason.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's
fucking.
I understand why that was so controversial.
Yeah, like I see why that kind of blew up because it just felt weird.
Yeah.
There was so much there. I'm not saying this crossover shouldn't have happened. I'm just thinking that like
it
the
should have happened
basic
differently.
idea. It should have happened differently because the basic idea that they had was let's just compare all the similarities and riff on that. When what they could have done for far more comedic effect in my eyes is if they had lingered on the differences and really explained and even exposed why each show is so different. Because obviously, if Family Guy was just a one-to-one carbon copy of The Simpsons, it would have never made it past season 1. It would not still be here.
Yeah.
So what is it about it that made it different enough that people actually give a shit?
I mean, to be fair, it did get canceled like a billion different times, and then people kept asking for it to come back.
Fan reaction, the fans were dedicated enough that they brought it back all those times.
Yeah.
What did they do to win those people over so good? You could have looked into that. Like, what exactly is special about Family Guy that people still gravitate towards it even after all these years? Because, like, weirdly enough, I feel like Family Guy hasn't really had any seasonal rot like Simpsons has. I feel like it's been really consistent.
It's not a good consistency, but it's consistent.
It's not good. It's consistently got some issues, but it doesn't dip or go up. It's just if you like it, if you like one season of it, you'll like another season of it probably. Yeah. You know, if you're more aware of what's wrong with it, then it's probably going to be harder to sit through. But it's not. It's kind of like this all or nothing shows. Either you can vibe with it or you just can't. While as The Simpsons, it has such massive ups and downs, you know, big mountains, low cavernous canyons of quality. And it's just like, what's the through line for both that keeps them from dying? That should have been what the special was about, is why don't either of these die already? Why are they still around? Why do people still watch them and care? You could have done something with that.
Just like any question whatsoever would have been interesting, as opposed to just it very much did feel like maybe because I have always been more of a Simpsons guy. It just very much felt like the Family Guy writers being oh fuck, that was good. That took me a second. It took me a second. That was good.
I didn't hear him. What did he say?
I said I'm a Simpsons guy, and then he said the Simpsons guy. I was like, oh fuck, that's a good one. Because I forgot what this episode was called. I forgot we watched it already.
Good one.
But like I've always grown up as like a Simpsons fan, you know. So it felt very much like the Family Guy writers were just gonna shit on Simpsons, and then that's it. That's kind of how it came across for a lot of it. And I think any sort of introspection on either show would have been interesting.
Is there animosity between those two writing teams?
I would have to.
No, there is not. There is not.
Oh, really?
It
feels like there was.
There's been a couple of jokes cracked at each other. You could argue it's maybe in good fun, but sometimes they've been a little below the belt. Like at one point, there's a joke in The Simpsons where they open up a dictionary and look up the word, and they're like scrolling through, and they go past the word plagiarism, and there's a picture of Peter Griffin.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
So like sometimes there's some like little cracks at each other. I don't think they like outright hate each other or anything, because they're still working under the same umbrella. They're probably down the hall
they
from
kind of
each other.
they have to be as nice as they can with each other. Yeah, they do work in the same building at that point.
No,
that's the case with a lot of like the shows that were owned by, that were at Fox. They kind of just all had to be like nice with each other, even though apparently just Family Guy just fucking hates Bob's Burgers for no reason.
Yeah, that was the other thing. It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what's a good crossover with Bob's Burgers?
Archer.
Is
that's really funny. I didn't know that they did that.
That's a cool one. Yeah, that's on the list. That's on the list.
Okay. Can I tell them what it is?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. There's an episode where Archer gets like, I think he gets like hit in the head or something and gets amnesia and forgets who he is. And then he runs away and starts a new life under a new identity with a new family, and it's just Bob's Burgers with the actual cast from Bob's Burgers. And he's he looks like Archer still, but he's in the Bob outfit with a mustache on, and then he's like going through an episode of Bob's Burgers, going, "Wait, there's something wrong here. This isn't where I'm supposed to be." And he's like remembering his life as a secret agent.
I have seen. I kid you not. I would watch Archer like on its own, like outside of kind of like the cultural thing. And I got to that episode. I was like, "What's going on here? This is weird." And I didn't think about it at all. I did not realize it was a Bob's Burgers crossover whatsoever. I was like, "Oh, okay. They're just doing a really long reference to Bob's Burgers. That's kind of crazy." And then just didn't think about it.
It's the same voice actor as the band.
I didn't know that at the time.
Is it meant to be more so of a Bob's Burgers episode than it is a Archer episode?
It was in Archer.
No,
that's how I saw it.
It's an Archer.
Oh, okay.
It's an Archer episode.
I mean, Bob's
just
Burger
like
also had its own
of it.
Archer crossover. Like Bob's Burger itself had its own Archer
Really?
crossover. Yeah, it did. I think it was like one spin-off. It was like a spin-off gag that they had where our actual cast of Archer walk into Bob's Burgers like home. Like into the home.
In the same art style?
In the art style of Bob's Burgers, but they're all the like actual characters.
Wow.
Yeah,
I gotta look that up.
It'd be kind of interesting
to see how those designs translate, because their art styles are so wildly different.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, editing Zack here. I'm just popping in to say that that animation was actually made by fans. Had absolutely no idea, and it fooled me like so well.
Yeah, like it's
we should have watched that.
That would have been fun.
Yeah.
But listen, my randomizer wheel has chosen poorly for the past 4. Well,
you started with Spider-Man.
Bastard.
You started with Spider-Man. That's always strong, you know.
Okay, I will tell you that one was actually me. I give myself 2 executive choices for 1 year. And
well,
you
hold
guys
on.
will
This
get,
is episode 4.
I know.
Oh, just 2 per year. I thought you meant you do 2 and then a wheel. You do 2 wheels and then 1 you choose.
No, I get 2 in total for an entire year, and that's it. And then you guys get one after after 5 appearances.
Oh,
we got to earn that.
I gotta keep coming back so I could come up with like a really terrible one to force you to sit.
And it can be anything. It doesn't even have to be like
I gotta find
in the
something like
TommyWestphall universe. It doesn't even have to be in the TommyWestphall universe. It could just be anything.
Well, okay,
I'm only coming back if it's 20 minutes. 40
Let's
minutes.
be honest with ourselves. What isn't in the TommyWestphall universe?
Well, I mean, in the TommyWestphall universe, not the TommyWestphall multiverse. The multiverse
Well,
because once we get to OKKO,
technically through like 2 degrees of separation connected to it.
What was that?
What isn't technically connected to it through like 2 degrees?
Yeah, do you guys know the 6 degrees of
separation
shit?
Honestly, there's a lot of shows that don't actually
or like the
break that barrier.
those Disney sitcoms like the Sweet Life on Deck,
Sweet Life on Deck is, yeah.
Those are
Sweet Life on Deck.
That's wild.
Yeah, because I guess
that was the shit. That was where my Avengers as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the fucking wish the shooting
the
star
Wizards
gives
one.
everyone a stupid wish.
Yeah. Oh no, that's not even that. The that's the Sweet Life on Deck.
Sweet
Wait,
Life
is the
that that's yeah.
Is the Phineas and Ferb Avengers crossover on there?
Yes, it is, because it's technically it's same voice actor, so I'm like, okay, it's connected.
It's fine.
And they also had a Mr. Mosby on for a Phineas and Ferb episode.
Just having Phineas and Ferb's mom in the Chip and Dale movie opens up like 5,000.
Oh no, yeah.
But also,
but
like,
does the Chip and Dale movie count? Because they're all actors.
It's supposed to be like actors and stuff. All right, just explain.
Oh, unless we mean like in canon connections. If
in
you're doing
canon,
like
that's what I mean. In canon.
Well, in that case, you got to throw out both Space Jams and like the fucking Ready Player One. Like when you're doing like a meta thing where they're not actually.
Well, if we're
even Roger Rabbit doesn't count then.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying the multiverse will eventually bring all those in there. But I'm only isolating it to one universe right now. I can't go to the multiverse because then just everything's in there and it doesn't make it interesting.
Probably
to explain it's just to show you how Sweet Life of Zack Cody goes to it. I just want to show this because I think it's funny.
Thank you.
So Sweet Life of Zack Cody had a crossover with had a brief crossover with Jesse.
Yeah.
Jesse then has a crossover with the show Austin Alley. Austin Alley had a crossover with the show I Didn't Do It. Had a crossover on the show Girl Meets World. Girl Meets World had a crossover with is the spinoff of Boy Meets World. Boy Meets World had a crossover with Step by Step. Step by Step had a crossover with Urkel, which Urkel had of course had a crossover in Full House. Full House has a few other crossovers.
Urkel's also in Scooby Doo.
Yeah, but also, so Urkel's also also has a spin-off show, Family Matters. What Family Matters is a spin-off show of Perfect Strangers. Perfect Strangers has a connection to Happy Days. Happy Days has a crossover on the show Instant Mom.
Happy Days, the Christopher Melody show?
Yes.
No, that's just called
It has Ron Howard in it, and it's and that's my distant cousin. If I've never mentioned, I mentioned that a few times.
You don't know the Fonz?
Are all redheads really are related? Dang.
Yeah, I'm not even shitting you. He's my distant cousin.
The fuck?
Yeah. They crossed over on Instant Mom, which had a bunch of sitcom moms make just a brief cameo for no reason at all. It had Family Ties, it had Sister, The Brady Bunch, and the Cosby Show.
The Brady Bunch?
Yeah. The Brady Bunch had a crossover on had a crossover with several shows. Hi Honey, I'm Home. Where is it? They had the Love Boat crossover with that also included Leave It to Beaver. Leave It to Beaver had a few crossovers here and there.
Does the Conan Emmy opener count in this?
Oh, and then now I remember. Happy Days. Okay, going back to Happy Days. Sorry, Happy Days had a crossover.
I should have picked something closer. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pick.
No, you're fine. Happy Days had a crossover on Sesame Street. Sesame Street had a where is it? Shit, I now need to follow my strings. Okay, Sesame Street had a Simpsons crossover, which brings us back to Simpsons. Simpsons had.
How's that allowed?
Simpsons had, of course, a crossover with the X-Files. X-Files. Yeah, we're going deep, man. This is, oh god, I'm tired.
Me too. Somehow. What percentage of a connection is this so far?
Fuck, I'm getting lost in my own string.
There's all these
look at this
threads.
All these threads.
Life and death.
Yeah, no one can see this. People will see
Charlie
it.
Day much?
Yes, that's I use that GIF all the fucking time for this thing. Okay. Oh, now I remember. Simpsons had a crossover on Cheers. Cheers had crossovers with Saint Elsewhere. Fucking there.
So The Simpsons has to be the biggest bridge point, I want to say.
No,
right?
It's Jesse. Jesse's the biggest one, honestly.
Really?
Jesse has a lot of them.
Because it's a Disney kids show. Yeah.
Look at the fucking red. How much red is on that connection for that one?
Jeez.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah. Jesse had a lot of them.
Spider-Man, weirdly enough.
Yeah, and then Spider-Man has the crossovers with Avengers Assemble, and then the Guardians of the Galaxy crossover, and then Guardians of the Galaxy had a crossover with the other Spider-Man show.
Yeah, that's fucking weird. Both Spider-Mans appear in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, it's so fucking
the new Marvel,
the continuity. The continuity for animated Marvel shit is fucked because they changed the Avengers show too. But then the new Avengers crosses over with the new Spider-Man, even though it's still the same Avengers as the old Avengers.
The writers said that, it's a different universe. It just things happen. This kind of similar things happen.
That's a lame excuse.
Why are you
That's
doing
a stupid
that?
excuse.
It's a stupid excuse. I'm like, if you don't explain in the show, then it didn't happen. I don't care.
I want to do a thing about how there's two Spider-Mans in that Marvel universe that don't know each other and never meet. There's two.
That's
Peter
the real
Parker.
Clone Saga.
It's because one of them goes to a normal high school and one of them went to tech genius Elon Musk high school.
Oh jeez,
so he doesn't know. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
I'm
Elon
so
Musk
glad that both of them are gone now. They can't hurt us anymore.
I can't wait for. Did you see that the cap and shit for freshman year or whatever?
Oh yeah,
no.
That shows.
Wait, what?
We're probably gonna get a good look at that show sometime in the next few.
Oh yeah,
weeks,
It's weird that I just don't care at all.
Yeah, I'm just so over high school. Yeah.
The fact that it's an MCU show makes me not care.
The only thing I'm interested in that show is I just really like the homemade suit.
Is it gonna be canon to the MCU?
Yeah,
I would assume.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a prequel.
We're probably not going to reference it ever, but
it's not going to have an impact because, if they did, then it would have fucked up the rest.
This
of
is where we'll get Ben stuff, and then we'll never get it again.
Will we even get Ben stuff?
They're allowed to in what? They're allowed to in What If.
They're not gonna mention Ben in the. They're not even gonna have Ben in the show. They're gonna have Ben Reilly in the show, and then they're gonna go evil.
Yeah. He's gonna be bald, and he's gonna be Kane. And then
they're gonna make him Kane for no reason, even though it doesn't make any sense.
I did kind of like that moment though in Ultimate Spider-Man where May names him Ben because he's just a clone the whole time, and then like he takes out the mask. That's like the only like good moment in that show.
Mm-hmm. I guess before like the last few things that we do for it is where we give our final thoughts on whether or not we think this is like essential watching for people who actually want to watch the Tommy Westphall universe.
Oh god.
Do you guys feel like this is essential watching for?
I feel like I feel like everyone already knew that these two shows crossed over at some point, you know, because it's Family Guy and The Simpsons. It's like they're the two shitty sitcoms that people have been watching since the 1990s. You know, you just need to know that it happened, and that's it. I think.
I was letting out all these sadness noises, but whenever I think about the state of Simpsons, I always just go it's quietly in the background.
Like,
it just hurts. Yeah. You break your heart all over again.
I just keep thinking about how all the happy childhood memories of watching season like 5 and 6 in particular.
It's just like someone annoyingly punching your shoulder to be like, "Hey, remember us?" Ooh.
That's my take on it. It's like your high school friend that turned out to like just go to jail for like the most horrific thing in the world. You're like,
oh yeah.
It's funny because I know
him and I were really tight, man. He was super cool. And then
hey, what happened to
that
him?
Guy he bashed that guy's head in with a fire extinguisher.
I know a guy who I used to make like jokes with in high school, and we were kind of buddy like a little bit like during school assemblies. Turns out he joined like the KKK or something like that.
Oh
no!
So
oh boy.
I don't know. But I was like, I mean, he was nice to me, which I'm kind of surprised because you can't see video, but I am not white. So I don't know what happened there. But
oh my god.
Yeah, but yeah. The Simpsons is not
Just cut it there. That's the perfect spot to end it. Just end it there.
I'll switch out the segments so that will be the ending.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah.
The other thing
you don't need to watch it. That's my take.
Yeah.
Watch the chicken fight because I thought it was good. But
I have a take. Here's my take. You do need to watch it because I had to sit through it, and so I think everybody else has to now.
Yeah.
Or at least I had to suffer, so now does everybody. Everybody does too.
My take is you can just Google a PNG of Homer Simpson and then Google a PNG of
and you can put together on Google Drawings. I could do that shit in Google Drawings.
And then you get like a background. It could be whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be one from the show. It could just be like a picture of like the Empire State Building or something. And you just put them next to each other and you go, wow, they met each other. Wow.
Wow, wouldn't that be cool?
It's all textured wrong.
And that's the same experience. Is you see them next to each other, and it makes you feel good because you're like, wow,
could I animate an entire episode of Family Guy on Google Drawings?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think you could.
Yeah, I could put good use to my skills for once. I will say, should I come back to Twitter just with the video of the car wash? That's what I'm going to do.
Oh like, no!
Do it. Xavier, do you have any final thoughts? All right. And I think it's unanimous to think that this show needs to be watched for the fact that we watched it.
Actually, can you edit you asking me that question and then you just hear like a distant gunshot and then silence?
I will do that.
Instead of my response.
Jesus.
Well,
no,
Xavier's
add
dead.
3 or 4 gunshots.
I'll do that. Yes, I will do that. Fuck.
And they get progressively further away.
The gunshots set to the
oh my god
jingle of the Simpsons theme. Boom, 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 boom.
And they're just screaming and crying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do that now. That's great.
Yeah.
That's a good bit. All right. I'm gonna do the spinning of the wheel for what we're gonna do. What I'm gonna have to watch for the next episode. Are you guys ready?
This will determine whether I return. Just that's all I'll say.
So this is a total now of 140 crossovers here. Ready? Let's hear it. Oh boy. Oh fuck! I'm back on Jesse.
Oh no, we gotta do it again.
Not again.
It's Jesse and Liv and Maddie. Jesse's Aloha Holidays with Parker and Joey.
Oh no, don't say Liv and Maddie. Okay, I was young, so I did catch episodes of that show. Jordan Fisher was on that show.
Ooh, I love a good Jordan Fisher.
He wasn't good, but
all I remember is the joke of, "This is what it's like inside my armpit." That's the only joke I ever remember from that show.
I don't.
I remember Jordan Fisher was in that show. I remember Jordan Fisher was.
What you said.
I don't know a single thing you guys are talking about.
I have
about Liv and Maddie, the hit
recognize
Disney show?
Jordan Fisher, and I'm like, oh yeah, I like him, and then that's all I know. All I'm getting.
I remember Jordan Fisher was in this show, but I don't remember if he was trying to get with Liv or trying to get with Maddie.
They're both the same person, honestly.
I know.
They're the same actor.
It sounds like a fake TV show.
I know. I feel like you're making this up.
It's like if Zack and Cody were older and one of them was famous and left for like a few years, and they're not played by two different actors.
It's just one person.
Yeah,
it's
both
just Dove Cameron.
So like Moon Knight, Hannah Montana is what.
This is Dove Cameron right before Descendants, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think so. It's like
yeah.
This is how she got Descendants. I think that's probably.
Well, I mean, Descendants is still Disney Channel, but
you're watching Disney Channel now. Back to an episode of Dog with the Blog. I love Dog with the Blog. If there's some Dog with the Blog shit on this.
There isn't. They didn't have
no. You don't have Lab Rats and you don't have Dog with the Blog. Why the fuck am I here, Zach? Why am I here? I thought I was here for only my childhood, and the two shows from my childhood are not on this list. I'm so sad.
All right,
where's my childhood? I want the member berries. I don't want to watch Peter Griffin putting his ass on my fucking window. I just want to watch my member.
I don't want to see Peter Griffin shove
his face on my window.
You remember that shot when his face was like a dick and balls?
Don't remind me. Hey,
that was a design choice, right? That was never that was always intentional to give him the nutsack chin.
He had the Squidward nose, so man.
Oh. I think it was an accident that they caught on to later and are like,
these are actual shows that exist. I don't. Yeah. I'll get maybe aspects of it, but I don't get why they're still going. I don't think I'll ever understand that.
All right, this episode's gone on way too long. This is the longest one yet. Do you guys have stuff to plug? Go ahead, Mithi, plug your stuff.
Young just video coming maybe the end of this week, but I mean that legitimately because I'm actually almost done editing. Yeah, thanks, Troy.
I didn't say like I just had I exhaled a little bit. I just exhaled
a little bit of air.
A little bit of air.
Not allowed to do that. Hold your breath.
I believe you.
Xavier, do you want to say something? I can.
You go watch my Moon Knight video. This is a good video, Morty.
Troy, do you have your stuff to plug?
I got a Spider-Man thing, and then I got another Spider-Man thing coming. I have a fucking Spider-Man YouTuber at this point. I fucking hate
really
myself.
Sad.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Sorry.
At least you didn't make a love letter to Tom Holland.
If there's anyone who could possibly know your pain, if there's anyone who could relate to that tragedy.
I know.
Oh, I wouldn't know anything about being a comic book YouTuber. I've never done something like that. I've never covered a comic book anything before. Outside of that one time I did.
Comic books are for nerds. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm just excited for Secret Wars, which is Civil War
Multiverse.
I would love it if they
Griffin will show up.
I would love it if the big.
Okay, I would actually clap for that. I would clap for Peter Griffin in an MCU movie.
We'd all stand up and clap for Peter Griffin.
Is that not an Illuminati edit yet? Stephen Strange. The Illuminati will see you now. Not presenting the
Peter
smartest
Griffin.
man in the world, Peter Griffin.
This is a good setup for it. All right, let's.
Have you? Do you guys? You guys know about the Lilo and Stitch anime, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anime.
Yes.
All I want is a series that happens during that while we see Lilo in college.
Aw, yeah, that would be great. That would be so much better than whatever the fuck this was. Oh, also swearing? Is that a...
Many things would be better than this.
Oh, good. I've been saving them.
Fuck!
That sucked! Oh my god, that was goddamn unwatchable! Shit, why'd you make me see that? My own
Fuck this show.
All right,
fuck this awful show.
This is my anger translator.